In her 24 short years on this planet, Alice Ball made a huge impact in science. She was born on July 24, 1892 in Seattle, Washington to James Presley and Laura Ball. She had 2 older brothers and 1 younger sister. Her family were well-off and prominent members of the community. Her father, James, was an editor for the newspaper The Colored Citizen, photographer, and lawyer. Her mother, Laura, was also a photographer, as well as her grandfather, James Sr., who was considered a pioneer in the field. Growing up, Alice developed a love for chemistry by watching her parents and grandfather work with chemicals to develop photos. In 1902, the Ball family moved to Honolulu, Hawaii, hoping that the warm weather would help with her grandfather's arthritis. Sadly, he passed shortly after they settled into the island, so in 1905 the family moved back to Seattle. Alice attended Seattle High School, where she received top grades in her science classes. She was also very active in the drama club and was well liked for her quick wit and ambition. After graduating high school in 1910, she enrolled at the University of Washington to study chemistry. In 2 short years, she finished her bachelor's degree in pharmaceutical chemistry, graduating in 1912. In 1914, she received her second bachelor's in pharmacy. During her time at the University of Washington, she published a 10-page article in the Journal of the American Chemical Society with one of her professors. Keep in mind that this was the early 1900s, and a woman publishing in a respected scientific journal was very uncommon. Her accomplishments attracted scholarships for many graduate schools, and she decided to accept an offer from the University of Hawaii, which at the time was known as the College of Hawaii. There, she enrolled in a master's degree in chemistry. Her master's thesis involved researching the chemical properties of the kava plant species, which at the time was used to treat many ailments from headaches to kidney disorders. In 1915, at the age of 22, she became the first African American and first woman to graduate with a master's degree from the College of Hawaii. She then became their first African American research chemist and instructor in the chemistry department. After learning about the work that she did on her master's thesis, she was contacted by Dr. Harry T. Hallman. He was a surgeon working at a hospital in Hawaii and needed an assistant for his research into the treatment of leprosy. At the time, leprosy was highly stigmatized with essentially no chance of recovery. From 1866 to 1969, over 8,000 patients with leprosy were sent to the Hawaiian island of Molokai, pretty much just to die. Available at the time was helmugra oil from the seeds of the helmugra tree. However, it had problems. Used topically and too viscous to be injected. It also had a really bad taste that caused somebody who ate it to vomit. This is where Alice came in. At the age of 23, she developed a revolutionary technique to make the oil injectable and water-soluble. Tragically, she passed away unexpectedly at the age of 24 on December 31st, 1916. She had been ill while she was conducting her research and had returned to Seattle for treatment a few months before she died. However, her cause of death remains a mystery. Chlorine poisoning from exposure. She had also been giving demonstrations on how to properly use a gas mask while World War I raged on. Her original death certificate was later altered to list tuberculosis as the cause. However, we will never know for sure. Death, her former graduate advisor, dean of the college, and later dean of the university, Arthur L. Dean, began conducting additional research using Alice's work. He then published his findings based on Alice's original work without crediting her. He called it the Dean method, without ever mentioning Alice or her contributions. In response, Alice's colleague Dr. Hallman went out to correct Dean's misdeed. In 1922, he published a paper giving Alice the credit and calling her method the Ball method. He described Dean's method and said that he could see no improvement in the so-called Dean method in comparison to the Ball method on which it was based. Today, Alice is recognized for her work with a plaque at the University of Hawaii on the school's only Halmugra tree. February 28th is also Alice Augusta Ball Day in Hawaii. It's amazing how much of an impact this brilliant woman made in such a short amount of time.